Welcome to another budget strategy session where I speak with moms and busy women just like you, work through what they're struggling with to help them get unstuck with some actionable tips. Today we have Melanie with us, and she's asking me some questions about credit card dates and just really overthinking and overanalyzing things. She knows what to do. She really is good with money. She just overthinking. So before we dive into things, Melanie, why don't you just give us a little bit of background about yourself, what you're comfortable sharing, and what you feel like you are struggling with in terms of your finances?
My background is I work full time. I work at home. My husband works full time and he works in the field. So having said that, he's the one who does all the grocery shopping and errands and all of that stuff during the week. And all he does is bring me receipts. And then if we have any errands on the weekend, she'll usually doing the meal planning stuff. And so what I basically do is just keep track of expenses. And I don't even do that consistently. And but I do check our balance because we actually use credit cards and then pay off the balance at the end of whenever the due date is. And so that's why I overanalyze, because I want things to be perfect. And then I have to look on the receipt to see what category items fall in. And I just need a schedule to use for tracking expenses and pay off the credit cards like weekly or bi-weekly or something, so that on the due date the balance is zero, because if it isn't, there's an interest charge.
Right. Okay.
That's my problem. And paying the bills is not an issue, and having money to pay the bills isn't an issue, um, because we're like several months ahead. So I don't use the paycheck budget because I know I have every month to pay bills.
Awesome. Yes. So you were also talking to me a little bit, questioning, kind of how the schedule to pay the credit cards, because you're paying your bills with your credit card. I'm assuming you're getting your rewards, and overspending is not an issue for you at all. You've got money. You're very frugal. So,
Right.
overspend, that's not the problem. So one thing that could help you, and what I do, because I use my credit card for a lot of things as well. And so I keep an eye on the due date so that, not charged interest, all that. So
Right.
the date that I want you to actually focus on instead of the due date is when the statement closes. So when the statement closes, there's a gap between that date and when your due date is. So anytime
Right.
in that range is when you can make your payment. Or if you want it to show as a zero payment, so that you don't have a payment due, you would pay it before the day of the closing of the statement for each month. So for mine closes on the 6th of the month. I get my rewards on the 7th. And actually, I don't even know what the due date is because I always focus on the close date. So as long as it's after you make a payment, if you have a balance. So it's up to you. And I know I'm giving you more things to even think about as an overthinker.
Mhm.
What I would do is I would look at when the actual credit card statement closes and decide if you want it to close with a zero balance or if that's when you want to make your payment. So you could do it every week or every payday if you don't want to carry a balance. You're not worried about your credit score, right? Like,
Right. Our credit score's high, which, most of the time when credit scores are high, it's usually because people carry a balance and they have had it a long time. We're not those people. We are the people that have a high credit score because we don't make late payments. We pay off every month. There's no interest at all. And so that's why it's so high. So, but I've never considered, paying by the close date. I always look at the date it's due. Usually the close date is around the middle of the month.
Mhm. And then you usually get like 2 or 3 weeks, I think, to make the payment.
You
So
do, right,
if you pay it off before the close date, then it's going to report to the credit for your credit score that you had a zero balance. So that's why I asked about your credit score. So sometimes I don't worry about it too much because like you, I don't have, I do have a mortgage, but I just have the one card. So it's not that big of a concern to me. But if you are worried, if you're somebody that's listening and you are worried about the credit score, you do need to figure out, there's more dates to consider with when they report it to the credit bureau. And if you want it to show a zero balance on close date versus a payment on time and carrying a balance, because if you have the balance, you get your statement, then you pay it in full. You're still not paying interest, but it's going to report to the credit bureau that you had a balance. Right.
right.
So, and if
Mhm.
you're doing that every month, it's going to look like you're constantly carrying a balance. So, for those of you that are worried about your credit score, that's one factor to consider when taking into consideration when to pay it off. For you now, do you and your husband get paid between the two of you? Do you get paid bi-weekly or weekly?
It's bi-weekly and it's on the same day, but again, that doesn't really matter to me because we're paid
Right.
ahead.
Right.
So, but my question is, having said that, um, our our I guess what is for the month. I usually do it like on the first through the end of the month, and then usually on the end of the month is when I pay all the credit cards. And then if I look on the credit card thing to see if anything's pending, so
Mhm.
I pay it up. So if I have a credit card that starts on the 15th, that's when it closes.
Mhm.
Should I change my month to like mid-month?
Well, what I was going to suggest, because you were asking kind of like a schedule and when to do certain things. So
No.
you could certainly do that. What I think makes more sense to me, since you guys are paid the same weeks and it's bi-weekly, is to pick a day, either like the Thursday before you get paid, or if you get paid on Friday, or the day you get paid, to sit down and then do that stuff so that it coincides with pay, which I know you don't have to worry about that.
Right. Mhm.
So you could certainly pick a different day. You could do the 1st and the 15th, as long as you're picking a day to like schedule it. So in your mind, you're not having to overthink, you're not having it, just becomes a habit and a routine. And so that takes less brain power to think about when you're going to do it and what you're going to do and get everything together, because you already know, okay, on this day, this is what I'm going to do. And that
Right.
really helps with the overthinking aspect of it. So typically, I would say to do it on payday, but for you, that doesn't necessarily apply. So you could do it on the 15th and then, the end of the month, or 31st or the 1st, whichever one that you want to just decide to do it that way,
Mhm.
because you are ahead and you're not worried, you're not paying things late, you're not worried about your credit score. So it's pretty simple, which might be part of your overthinking. 'Cause I mean, you know what you're doing, you're doing it, and you're a rock star when it comes to the big picture, the long-term plan of what we all want to do with our finances. And so you've got the big picture and you're overthinking the little minor stuff that really doesn't matter. And I think it's just because you don't have all the other things to worry about.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. That matters to me because it's driving me crazy.
Yeah. I know, because we chat a lot, and so I know you're just overthinking things, and the things that you're overthinking are really not that important. So I would just make a decision of when you're going to do it. And then that's your decision. Like, that's what I'm going to do. Put it on the calendar. You don't have to think about it any other day of the month. Do it those days. That's it.
Okay, so having said that, let's say usually I do it on the 1st and the 30th,
Okay.
31st, whatever.
Mhm.
So we say that I can, that's paying the credit cards.
Yeah. And
Right.
everything. Cause I know you like to track too. And sometimes you feel
Yeah,
like you get behind.
right.
I would set aside either 30 minutes or so, an hour. If you do it twice a month, it can be smaller blocks of time, but that's like your time to look at your finances, to do your categorizing stuff, because I know you like to do that, and then paying the credit card. Because those are the
Mhm,
two main things that I know that you are focusing on. And I will
mhm,
tell you that unless you want to look back at the whole year of spending, if you get behind like 2, 3 months in categorizing stuff, as long as you don't have a business, which I don't think that you do, you
mhm,
don't have to worry. Like, you don't have to worry about that, especially for you, because I know you're not overspending. You are still saving. You don't have debt. Like, for you, you don't have to worry about a lot of those little things because you
mhm,
got all the bigger things figured out, and you already have a lot of systems in place
mhm,
for the long-term success. And as you do that, you don't have to worry about a lot of the little things. Of course, being mindful, which you are, like, you already are
mhm,
mindful of what you're spending, and you already are frugal, and you're not you spending wildly or anything like that. And so that's why I'm trying to get you to kind of try not to burden yourself with all the little things that you could be doing, because
uh,
for you and your situation, that stuff really isn't that important, because you're doing the other things. Like, you want to be able to enjoy your life too. And so if these things help you with like your anxiety and knowing what's going on, great, keep doing them. But if
mhm,
you get like 3 months behind on your expense tracking and now you're stressed because you feel like you have to get caught up, just start over in the month that you're in. Just like, don't worry about the
okay.
months that you got behind on. It's okay. You didn't go back into debt. You have money in savings. Like, I'm sure you didn't overspend. Like, it's okay. So that, I think the mindset part of it and the overthinking is what you've really got to focus on, because you've already have the bigger things figured out just in your lifestyle and what you've done through the years. You're good. Like, you're good to go. So it's more of the over analyzing that we've got to work on. So for those, for people listening, they do need to do some of those things to get to where you are now. And so you're in a
Mhm,
different place than where most of the people that I am helping are. So I know you still, uh, you are still frugal, and you're still wanting to cut whatever expenses you can, which is
right.
why you are successful, because you're not overspending and you're still mindful. So just try not to give yourself anxiety and overthink things that you shouldn't be overthinking and stressing yourself out about, because they're really not that important for you in your situation. Does that make sense?
It does. It's easier said
Yeah.
than done.
I know, I know, I know. Okay, so how does doing it on your credit card and just like having a block of time on the calendar, like that's what you're going to do that day, does that help with some of that overthinking?
that will help. I think I should do it. What I think I should do, and I want your input, is track expenses weekly. I think I should, well, do that weekly, and then I think it should be weekly.
Okay. Now, tell me why you think it should be weekly.
Well, as far as tracking expenses, it should be weekly. Then that way I'd know how much we've spent. And then what do I do? Add like week 1 and week 2 together and then pay the credit card based on that?
Yeah, you could do that. You could also just see what the credit card balance is and the pending. So, tell me, I want to dig deeper into this because I know more about your situation. Um, why? Because you and your husband are not wild spenders. Have you ever in the past, even let's just say the past 6 months, have you guys overspent it all when you're going through the transactions and you're seeing where money has went every week or 2 weeks, each month, let's say,
Hmm.
is there anything crazy in there? Anything abnormal? Anything that you're like, oh, we shouldn't have done that?
No, except for like planner stuff.
So the reason I asked that question is because I know you, and if doing it once a week helps you feel comfortable and that's what you want to do, absolutely do it. But I don't want you to do it because you think that's what you have to do. Um,
Uh,
what I would say is the situation that you are in, you don't need to do it every week unless you just want to do it every week.
no,
You don't like you don't have to be that meticulous with your tracking because
okay.
you are at a point in your life that you don't have to. You just don't have to. If you want to, you can, but you don't have
No,
to. you you just don't. Now you've got, automation set up. You guys have done very well with your finances through the years. And so you're at a point that you can relax and enjoy the money that you have and enjoy that freedom instead of putting all these other arbitrary rules on yourself just because. Like,
see,
you
that
don't have to do it.
right, that's part of it. Because I feel like I told my husband this the other day. I feel like I keep up with all these things and there's no fun.
Yeah, you need some fun.
No fun.
I think that's what we should work on today. I think that I would love for you. So usually I give people an action step for the next 24 hours. I would love for you to tell me, and if you know it now, go ahead and tell it now, what you can budget for or put in your money plan that is just for you to have some fun and spend on whatever the heck you want, because that's what we should be doing with our money. And when you want to enjoy life and you don't want to stress about the finances and you have money saved and you don't have debt and you're working, like, what can you do? What would you like to have money set aside for that you can spend? You don't have to track it. You don't even have to track it. You can get yourself some cash. You can make yourself your own bank account that you do not track. You just put money into it each payday or once a month or whatever, and you can spend it on whatever you want.
Well, see, I would buy more planted supplies.
That's fine if that's what you want.
That's not fun. I don't need that though.
Yeah, but does it I just saw your face light up talking about planner supplies. So, not
Because
everything
I
you
love
buy
them.
has to be something you need. Like if you just enjoy it and it's something you want, as long as it's reasonable and it's
Mhm.
not, you know, putting you off track for your other goals, it's not keeping you from retirement, it's not keeping you in debt. Give yourself
Mhm.
some joy. Like give yourself permission to spend some money on things you just want because you can. Like
Right,
that's what we're trying to do here is get you to where you can do things like that, but it's hard when
right.
when you're frugal. When you're
Yeah,
frugal,
yeah,
it's hard to do that. So
yeah.
how much are you willing to do that?
Oh, well, I have Amazon gift card that I got Christmas. I haven't spent it yet, so it will be like $35. So I could use that.
Okay. Now, what about going forward? Are you open to either opening your own like bank account so you could use it online, you know, with debit card or getting
Mhm.
cash for yourself, even if it's $20 a payday? Are you willing to do that? And you don't track it. It's just Melanie's money. You get
What
cash.
about my husband?
Well, he can too. You can do it for him too.
So, in other words, have an allowance type
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. You don't have to track it. You don't have to answer to each other. Like you give him his money, you get your money, and you can do whatever you want with it.
I'll try that.
I can feel the hesitation. You feel like I don't know if I can do that. That's what I want to encourage you to do because I want you to enjoy your money. Like, what's the point? Like, what's the
Well,
point of saving a bunch of money if you can't enjoy it? What's
that
the point?
okay. That's because our budget for like variable expenses really is like $1,000, and that's after we pay the sinking funds and the uh, fixed expenses, and that is for everything like food and gas. Of course, we don't have gas money, so that would be like 200 for gas, and then the rest would be food. So where would that money come from?
So, are you saying that you have no extra money left over in your budget each month?
Well, if I don't save so much, we would.
So you can't save $100 less so that your husband and you each get $50 a month to do whatever you want with.
I'll try that. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
I mean,
Even $20 each for the month.
that's doable because we have a separate account which we could use for property taxes. So I could take that money. Maybe not all of it, but $100.
Because you have money for your property taxes.
Right. Yes.
Right. So it's
Right.
not like you're robbing your savings account. So I just want to make that clear to
Right.
everybody listening. Like you're good. Like you can do, and if it makes you feel more comfortable, just do $20 a month each. That's $40. And $20 isn't going to get you that far. You know, that'll get you some stickers at Michael's, but book
Right.
later stickers. Get one of their coupons, you know, they're
Right.
always having coupons.
Well, at the end of May, we are going on, well, it's a staycation. We'll take day trips
Mhm.
with our Jeep. So that will be fun.
That will be fun. So I love that you guys are doing that. And it's hard when you've just been in save mode for so long. It's hard to let go a little bit. But I mean, that's that's the joy of money, right? Is to be able to go
Right,
and do stuff like that. And you're, off-roading and stuff with your Jeep and,
right,
enjoy life. Like there's no
right.
point in just save, 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 save. Uh,
Uh-huh.
to a certain extent, right? I mean, obviously you have to
Yeah.
save for certain things,
Mhm.
but just having an unlimited, just seeing the number go up for no particular reason, you don't have to do that. You know what I mean?
Right. Mhm. Yeah.
All right. So, what is your 24-hour action step? Are you going to how much are you going to decide to do for you and your husband for whatever you want?
$100.
All right. All
Mhm.
right. I'm going to follow up with you and see how you do with it.
We'll do that, and also, what we say, pay the credit card on
Mhm.
the 1st and the 30th,
The 1st and 15th.
1st and 15th. Yes.
Mhm.
Well, 30th, 15th and 30th.
Yeah. Or 15th and
Yeah.
30th. Yep. Okay. That sounds good. I think that'll be good for you. And if you can just kind of you don't need to do, like I said, the weekly thing unless you want to. You don't need to. I know you, so I'm telling you, you don't need to do it that way. And so, if you're doing the 15th and the 30th or 1st or whatever, the end of the month, the 15th and the end of the month, then you could do the tracking and everything at the same time. And then you just have the 2 days, what days you're going to do it, and then you set some time aside and that's what you do on those days. Does that feel more manageable?
Yes.
All right.
You better hold me to it.
That's what I'm here for. Do you have any questions before we wrap up?
I don't. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's been a pleasure talking to you and learning all these ideas.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining me. It's been great to chat with you. Thank you.
Thank you.